So let's talk about emotional intelligence 101. Emotional intelligence is a concept of understanding what's going on internally and also externally. For an example, if I am triggered, which is defined by something someone said, did, didn't say, didn't do that I wanted them to do, or an additional external event, such as someone touching you, you don't want to be touched, talking to you, you don't want to be talked to. The list goes on and on. So it's an event that caused you to feel uncomfortable. Now, emotional intelligence come into play when you recognize the discomfort. Again, emotional intelligence plays a part when you recognize, i.e., self-aware, that something has bothered you. So when this is identified, there's a couple of things that you need to do. First of all, ask yourself, what just happened? Secondly, ask yourself, how do I feel about it? So if you miss this process, you're running a risk of falling into two categories. The first category is not understanding that you were just triggered, which ignites something called impulsivity. And impulsivity is the concept of taking what you unconsciously recognize. This is the brain working on your behalf. So unconsciously recognize that something happened, but yet there's no pinpoint to what happened because you did not take the time to follow through with what you were able to conceptualize, therefore running the risk of having behaviors that would end up in consequences, as evidenced by jumping off, right? Going off on somebody, rolling your eyes, making it known that you were displeased, which could be very beneficial in some aspects, not all, and not most, to be honest. Especially not for a professional woman who's on a job, who's negotiating. The list goes on and on. You run into the second factor when you skip over the coping skills that I just provided, which I posed 2 questions for you so you can write those down, recall those in order to move forward with self-regulating your emotions so you will not have a bad experience, but also not cheat yourself emotionally, as evidenced by suppressing your feelings. Now, this is the second warning. When you suppress your feelings, you end up bottling them, but not just that one that happened. The point here is that when you don't recognize a trigger, you don't recognize awareness within yourself, then all of these triggers, whether unconscious or conscious, goes into a bottle. And what happens? A bottle would fill up, the top would be placed on, but when there's too much deposited into the bottle will explode. Well, that's the same thing that happens to human beings when we stuff emotions. When we stuff emotions, we end up having, number one, stinking thinking. That's the inability to be rational with your life choices, your decisions, whether work or at home or community, as a result of irrational thinking. Well, why would you become irrational? You will become irrational because you have bottlenecked yourself, right? And have allowed the triggers to play a part. Now, I'm going to add another factor here. Just because you didn't respond outwardly doesn't mean you didn't respond inwardly. And an example of responding inwardly is the ability to start having negative thinking or thoughts about you or someone else. So you're starting to feed yourself negativity, which ultimately is starting to affect your emotions little by little until eventually you become a negative person. A negative person dwells on negativity or defeat, which affects their self-esteem and their confidence. And guess what happens after that? Most often they start having racing thoughts, which is the cornerstone of anxiety. Now, as you can see, it is not a good idea to not be aware of your emotions. It is not a good idea to not understand what's happening with you immediately and follow through with strategies that will be able to regulate your mood. What's the power and the benefit of regulating your mood? The power and the benefit of regulating your mood is, number one, you take control of your life. You don't allow external situations to take control of your life. Number two, you're able to communicate in a healthy way, even if it is a conversation that is uncomfortable that you have to have, but you'll understand the power of healthy communication and what it takes to communicate effectively to have a better outcome. Number three, and lastly, I'm not going to give you all the benefits today, but lastly, the benefits of being able to be emotionally in control or have emotional intelligence is the ability to be productive, active, and happy in your life. Why? Because when I control my emotions, I control my thoughts, see? But vice versa. And we'll talk about that later on. If you want to know more about the power of thoughts in conjunction to the power of happiness, then leave me a comment and let me know. Also, follow for more tips if you want to understand yourself more. That's what I do. I teach professional women how to self-regulate their mood. But the big picture is teaching you how to prioritize self-care in order to be happy, fulfilled, and balanced. And ultimately, as a result of that, guess what? You're able to make better decisions. You're able to be happier. You're able to maintain healthier relationships. Oh man, the list goes on and on and on and on. So who am I? What authority do I have to tell you what's going on with your life? Well, I'll tell you. I'm a 25-year vet, not the military. 25-year vet teaching professional women and alike behavior analysis, behavior psychology, which means I'm a licensed therapist, which I've pivoted to leadership coaching. So you're talking about 25 years of teaching people how to act, how to think, and how to feel better so that they can have a happier life. That's where I'm coming from. And so I wanted to give you this information from me, Shantae Golson, leadership coach, to let you know, listen, you don't have to be unhappy. You don't have to have these leading examples that I provided in your life. You don't. You can take control of your life today. And so if you want to know more, again, subscribe, follow, click whatever button you need to click in order to get some more daily tips. Because I'm in it for you to win it. I live in peace. What are you saying, Shantae? Ultimately, my clients at the end of the day, once they learn all of the strategies, once they understand themselves better, guess what? They on the road to becoming. They have left who they were existent. They have built a bridge of the strategies and the tools and practicing them on the daily basis that I teach them. And then they move to becoming the person that they want to become. And the next thing I teach them is how to live in peace. So my life is peaceful. I'm not just saying that for the camera. I live in peace. So how do I live in peace? I've went through all of these aspects that I teach. And now my job is to maintain my peace through the same concepts: feel, act, behave. Again, follow, subscribe, comment, even share this with your homegirls that you know are professional women. So I work with a lot of executives, C-suites, mid-level, Fortune 500 companies, and etc. Business owners, CEOs, entrepreneurs. But even if you don't fit that particular bill, that's okay. If you're a professional woman and you have a career and you're moving forward, then this is for you, because emotional intelligence is the key aspect to helping you to move further in your career. Bye for now.